Alright, so we're going to solve for x by completing the square in this one. And the first thing I want to do is I want to get the x squared and the negative 8x on its own side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And I'm going to get 9 equals x squared minus 8x. So I've gotten the x squared and the negative 8x on its own side. Now I can take this negative 8 and bring it over here. I'm going to have negative 8 over 2 squared. So I get negative 4 squared equals 16. Now both this one here and this one here are important. This guy goes inside the parentheses squared, and this one gets added to both sides. Both sides. So we're going to use both of those numbers at some point in this process. Okay? Now, back to the problem. I'm going to add the 16 to both sides, just like I said. And I end up with 25 equals, and I can factor this side right here. I can factor this now. And this is when I'm going to use this part, the negative 4. The negative 4 is going to come into play here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have x minus 4 squared. I got that minus 4 from right over here. It's going to be like that every time. First part, I get the 16, I add it to both sides. And then when I factor, I use the negative 4 from this spot, and I put it right here. Alright, now I can finish out the problem. I can solve by taking the square root. So I'm going to have x minus 4 equals, and I like to put it over on the left side now, usually that's how we see it, plus or minus 5. So I'm going to have x equals 4 plus or minus 5. So I have to think about it in two ways. X equals 4 plus 5, which is 9, and x equals 4 minus 5, which is negative 1. And those are my two solutions. Now say the square, whatever I took the square root of over here couldn't be simplified, say it was like square root of 40. I would need to take a 4 and a 10, take the square root of the 4, and I would get 2 root 10. So I would need to simplify this if, say, it weren't a perfect square, but I could find perfect squares in it. So those are little changes that you might see from problem to problem. But for this one, pretty straightforward. It square roots nicely, and you get two exact answers. Okay, these are both exact. They're not approximate. We didn't have to round at all. We didn't have to round to get 9 or round to get negative 1. And that's it for completing the square.